Tim, if you're talking, I can barely hear you.
You can barely hear me?
Now I can. Now you're clear.
Okay. I was just saying, whenever you're ready, you can go. Other than that, I'm just going to be.
And now I can barely hear you again. But yeah, we're going to get started. Yes.
Could we recommend that all non-speaking mute? A lot of meetings been getting feedback, so and also it frees up some speed and better picture.
You've just characterized every Zoom meeting I've been in for work for a month. But yes, in general, please, if you're not currently speaking, just mute your microphone, and that does make it a lot easier to understand everybody. All right, I believe we have all the committee members present. I believe we have all of the invited guests that we were expecting. Oh, and there's Councilor Dumont. I nearly started without him, but so I'm going to go ahead and welcome everybody to the January 14th, 2021 meeting of the Newmarket Municipal Budget Committee. This is our meeting to hold public hearings on warrant articles that are being put forward by the town and by the school district. And I'd like to start the meeting, as always, with the Pledge of Allegiance. 3, 2, 1. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty for all. Pro tip for the Pledge of Allegiance: never make eye contact with Jeff. He will make you lose your composure. So again, apologies for that. This will be the one part of the Zoom era that I absolutely will not miss, is trying to coordinate the Pledge of Allegiance over that. Moving along, as we've come to do at every one of these meetings, I'd like to read into the record the notice that we are having this meeting remotely due to the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis, and in accordance with Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04. Under that order, this board is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously, although the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we are A, providing access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are using the Zoom platform for this electronic meeting, and all members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the Zoom platform. The public also has the ability to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in the meeting. You can either dial area code 301-715-8597 and enter meeting ID 926-371-29750, or you can join the meeting through the Zoom platform using the directions that are on the Town of Newmarket's website at www.newmarketnh.gov. Provisions have been made to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access in that event. If you're a member of the public and you lose the ability to see the meeting, please call 602-292-1221. We will adjourn this meeting if the public is unable to access it. In that event, the meeting will be rescheduled. And lastly, I'd like everyone to note that all votes taken during this meeting will be done by roll call vote. So we will start by doing a roll call attendance. When I call your name, please affirm that you're here and state whether you're alone or whether there's somebody else with you in the room. Roger?
Here and alone.
Jeff?
And alone.
Mike LaBranch?
Here and alone.
Joe?
Present and alone.
Rob?
I'm here and alone.
Mike Kennison,
Here and alone.
John,
Here and alone.
Counselor Dumont,
Present and alone.
Eric,
Here and alone.
and Matt.
Here and alone.
And I am by myself this evening. So, very good. So moving on with our agenda. The next item is I'd like to quickly approve the minutes from our last meeting on January the 4th. So I'd ask for a motion to accept those minutes.
I move to accept the minutes of January 4th.
Thank you, Roger. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Zach. So one person I know already emailed to point out, and I unfortunately lost my page reference, but there was a reference to Northampton.
Line 112.
Thank you, Roger. Line 112. That should be to accept the Newmarket School District fiscal year 2021-22 budget as proposed. Did anybody have any other corrections or edits or something you recall differently? Roger?
Two things. On line 107, it reads 106, 107, close the public comment to the school district and open the public hearing to committee members. Is it still a public hearing at that point?
Yes, it is, because our commentary and anything we voice in terms of our thought process or how we vote is part of that hearing, I believe. Roger, do you have another one?
Secondly, on line 166,
Yep.
I believe towards the end of that line, it should say to create, not recreate.
Sorry, I think the line numbering is a little bit different in my version, so I'm just looking for the
Business
exact
administrator,
reference.
the one that Mr. Katie asked, business administrator.
I see. Yeah, I remember it that way. It was create, not recreate.
Okay.
What was at issue?
And
Any other?
lastly, at line 180,
Mhm.
just before the next meeting,
Yep.
it reads, town manager phone number for town copies. And as for, I think the as is an extra word in there.
I think you're right. And for the information requested by Mr. Katie. So
That is
it's
correct.
it's that last line before next meeting. Just strike the as from in there. Anything else? Anybody would like to edit? All right. Seeing no edits, we'll do a roll call vote on whether we accept the minutes of the January 4th, 2021 meeting as amended. Roger?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Mike LaBranch?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Mike Kennison?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We are unanimous on accepting the minutes of the January 4th meeting. On to new business. I guess we'll start, open the public hearing on the town warrant article, the new road construction bond. I'm going to read the text of that as it is in the memo that the town manager sent along to us. Assuming the warrant ends up in substantially the same form as the memo Steve sent over. This will be Town Warrant Article T2. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1 million, parenthetically, gross budget, for the purpose of design and construction of stormwater improvements along New Road, including roadway repairs as required, that will qualify the town for federal and state funds, authorize the issuance of bonds or notes in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, parenthetically, New Hampshire RSA 33:1, et sec, as amended, in the amount of up to $1 million, and further to authorize the town to issue, negotiate, sell, and deliver such bonds or notes, and to determine the interest rate thereon and the maturity and other terms thereof, and further to authorize the town to apply for, obtain, and accept federal, state, or other aid, grants, or other funds, if any, which may be available for said project that may reduce the amount to be financed with bonds and notes, and to participate in the State Revolving Fund, SRF, RSA 486:14, established for this purpose, and to allow the town to expend such monies as become available, and to authorize the town to take any other action or pass any other vote relative thereto. It is anticipated that the town will receive up to $100,000 in principal forgiveness from the State Revolving Fund Loan Program. It is the intention of the town that the bond or note repayment shall be paid for by general taxation. Recommended on council 7-0, 2/3 vote required. So before I open this for public comment, I'd just like to invite the town manager to add any other commentary that would help everybody understand this better or
Sure.
see it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What this is we've been having some issues with drainage in the New Road area for some time now. It's been in our capital improvement plan for a number of years. We've actually also secured an easement a number of years ago to build a retention pond as part of this project. Probably a month and a half ago, we received notice from the State Revolving Loan Fund that we'd be eligible for a loan with 10% forgiveness for this project through their fund. As the committee may be already aware, we're already doing the water line replacement in that area as a bond that was approved last year. And the way we could save money is we do both projects at once. Much like, once you open it up, you want to get everything done at once instead of having to reopen it. So this would allow us to save some money by doing it alongside the water line replacement. This would improve drainage for the bowl area. If you remember the Mother's Day floods, we had a number of issues there. Basically, instead of having all the water rush right to the river, it would have a retention pond and let it slowly drain to the river, so it would actually make it go faster. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but it actually does. In addition, we were just recently awarded for the other project $500,000 in community development block grants. If this passes, we could possibly be eligible for block grants as well to offset the cost of this project. But we can't apply for those until such time as the bond or the loan passes. So the council felt that it was a good idea, and I know staff felt it was a good idea to move forward with this. I know it's somewhat quick, but there's an opportunity we didn't want to pass up.
All right, thank you for that. So I am going to open this hearing for public comment at 7:14 p.m. If there are any members of the public who are with us who would like to offer their views or comment on this, kindly raise your hand or make some other motion so that I can see you. Nicole?
Hi, Nicole Benson, 12 Mockingbird Lane. I just want to thank the town council and Steve Fournier for forward thinking and kind of piggybacking this project to save in the future. It doesn't always happen, and those opportunities don't always come along. So thank you for doing that and moving us forward. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other public comment on the town's warrant article?
Mr. Chair, I forgot to mention about the financing. The first year, we're looking for a level principal loan. So the first year, the tax impact would be 6 cents, and I provided you with a debt schedule. Understand that where it says 6 cents every year, that doesn't mean it goes up 6 cents every year. It means it stays at 6 cents every year. We did a level principal payment because it's actually, in the long run, will be less money than a level payment schedule by about $20,000. So we're just trying to save some money there as well.
Thanks for the clarification, and my own clarification, I misspoke. This is going to be warrant article T2, not T3. Any other public comment? Going once, going twice. So we will close public comment at 7:16 p.m. And I'll open the floor for any committee members who have any commentary you'd like to offer. Roger?
What are you doing? Are you serious? Your phone as a camera here?
Steve, I'd like to clarify, if I could. Is it your intention that the state revolving fund will be absolutely used as part of the financing?
Yes.
So
That's it.
unconditional, even if we get block grants?
No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Yes, we have to borrow the money first, and then we reimburse that from the block grants.
Okay, so the state revolving fund will definitely be used?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Other comments, questions?
I have a question.
John?
For this project, would we be self-performing this work or be contracting it out?
Contracting out.
Okay, and then how's that award process work for that? Is that because I assume it sounds like you've already got proposals, so is that from multiple contractors or how does that work?
No, right now we have an engineering estimate from our engineering firm. Would go to bid.
Okay.
And as we do for any project, and then we receive bids, open them, and then award it to the best bid for the town. However, we would also look in to see how this ties in with the water line replacement at the same time to make sure that we don't cost more money by having two different firms than by having one.
Yeah. Yep, totally. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'm seeing no other comment for the committee, and I apologize, I really should have started this way. I seek a motion from a member of the committee on town article T2.
I move to approve town warrant article T2.
Thank you, Mike.
Second?
Thank you, Jeff. I believe Jeff got in first with a second. So we'll do a roll call vote, and a yes vote means that you're voting to have the budget committee endorse town warrant article T2. A no vote would be the opposite of that. Roger?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Mike LeBranch?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Rob? Mike Kennison?
Aye.
Councilor Demott?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And the chair votes unanimous. The budget committee votes 11-0 to endorse town warrant article T2.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time tonight, Steve.
No problem. Have a good night.
Thank you. All right, next order of business on the agenda is the school district. The school district has two warrant articles that have been approved by the school board and will appear on the warrant. So we'll take them in order. The first one, as listed on the memo that we have from the superintendent, will be article number 4 on the school warrant. to see if the town will vote to establish a school improvement capital reserve fund under the provisions of RSA 35:1 for the purpose of improving, expanding, maintaining, renovating, furnishing, and equipping school buildings, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $60,000 to be placed in this fund. This sum to come from the June 30th, 2021 fund balance, available for transfer on July 1st, 2021. Further, to name the Newmarket School Board as agents to expend from said, parenthetically, no amount to be raised from taxation, parenthetically, majority vote required. The school board has recommended this warrant article 5-0. So I believe to do this correctly, apologize. So I'd ask, I guess, the superintendent or the school business administrator at this point if there's anything, any color or any commentary with regard to this warrant that you'd like to offer before we open for public comment? Susan, you're on mute if you're talking.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I said that this would probably be a tag team explanation because Jana is much better able to explain some of the technical aspects. But in essence, what this is a warrant article that will allow us to set aside some of the money from last year's warrant article that we won't be able to execute on before this fiscal year ends. And specifically, it's for furniture. So one of the challenges we've had with spending some of the money that town meeting approved last year is that when COVID hit, we had to, in fact, move furniture out of our buildings so that we could social distance. And because the pandemic hit before the building project was finished, we've never moved into our spaces at the senior high school and used them as they were intended to be used. So some of the furniture money that was set aside was so that when we moved into the space, we could, finish equipping the rooms once we had a chance to move in and get settled. But that is not possible under the current circumstances. It doesn't make the need go away. And the way the warrant article was laid out last year, the money that was set aside went into our operating budget, and if we don't encumber the money before the end of this year, then we don't have access to it anymore. So this would allow us to be able to set aside the portion of the warrant article that we were going to use for furniture to a trust fund. So once the pandemic is over, we can use it for the purpose for which the taxpayers approve. So that's really the essence of this. And if you have any more technical questions, Jana can explain better how the funding works. But we're not raising any additional money. It's just more setting up this trust and then transferring money at the end of the year into that because the money that was set aside went into our budget. I think that's, hopefully that's clear. And if I fail to be clear, Jana, I'm sure, can mop up my explanation.
Jana, anything you'd like to add to that before we open for public comment?
No, I think Susan explained it really well. Give yourself more credit. I think basically the money that was put into our operating budget, had we another capital reserve fund in which we could put the money that would allow for furniture purchases, we probably would have looked at doing that rather than creating a new capital reserve. But unfortunately, all of our capital reserve accounts, the ones ones that are geared towards facilities anyways, do not allow for furniture purchase, therefore or expansion. They're very specific, and they don't allow for that us to expend on furniture. So, and forgive me, I forget which member it was. It may have been, I think it might have been Matt last week or the last meeting that said something about, you know, maybe we should just expand the purpose of a capital reserve so that you can use this money. If you don't need it for that, you can use it for something else. And if you look at the wording of the article, that's exactly what we tried to do. We tried to give as much flexibility as we could with the wording of that article, keeping in the spirit of the original vote from last year and the intent for those monies. So we kind of mirrored the same language that the voters approved last year in this warrant article.
Thank you. So with that explanation, at 7:26 p.m., I would like to open this hearing on School District Warrant Article number 4 up to public comment. If there's any members of the public who are on the meeting who'd like to make a comment or ask any questions, please do so now. Hearing none, also at 7:26 p.m., we'll close comment. I'd like to start our discussion the right way this time by getting a motion on School District Warrant Article number 4.
I move we accept warrant article number 4 as written in the sum of
Second.
$60,000.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Zach. All right, members of the committee have any comments, questions, or anything they'd like to say about warrant article number 4? Joe, were you indicating you wanted to say something, or oh, there you are.
I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. Can you read what I had sent you?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, Joe's not feeling perfectly well this evening. Joe had asked if there's a reason that this warrant article doesn't say appropriate up to the sum of $60,000. That's just more the wording we're used to seeing. I see the reason, but if Jana or Susan want to confirm that.
The up to, according to the DRA, and they offer some standard wording for articles like this. Well, the intention is up to, it's only up to if you don't have remaining funds to fund the article. So for example, if we funded this article first, because it comes first on the warrant, and we only had $50,000 available, we would only fund the 50,000 of the 60 that we planned on. And then if there's another warrant article after that, it would be funded with remaining funds. But of course, if there aren't any left, nothing would go to the next article. So our attorney has looked at the wording of this. The intent of all of these from fund balance, I believe, are all up to, because if you don't have funding available, you can't put money into them.
That answer work for you, Joe?
Yeah, basically it's the same thing as saying up to, I guess then, right? Excuse me.
All right, thank you. Other questions or comments from the committee?
Yeah, hi Dan, it's Matt. The question I had is that at the end of the year, there's a vote to fund these accounts at the end of the year. My question is there a limit to how much of the remaining balance found at the end of the budget year is allowed to be appropriated and put into these funds? Long-term thinking is that, you know, in theory, we could have 20 different of these accounts. And at the end of the year, if there's enough money to put into these accounts, can you put all of that money and dissipate it into these accounts over time or at the end of the year?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. Let me see if I've got it. You're asking if discretionarily at the end of the year, if we have more money available than what's listed in this article, would we be able to put that into this capital reserve? Is that your question, Matt?
Correct. Yep.
Interestingly enough, capital reserve funds can only be funded by a vote of the legislative body, which means the voters. The school board, even as agents to expend, cannot put any money into a capital reserve that hasn't first been voted by the legislative body. So this 60,000 would be all we could put in. Even if we had 200,000, we can't put anything more into a capital reserve than what was voted by the taxpayers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's why we had to have a warrant article last year to expend the interest money from the bonds. We couldn't just transfer it into another fund. We had to bring it before the voters and get their permission to be able to do that. So this is kind of the same idea.
Thank you for the clarification. Other questions or comments from the committee? Going once, going twice. All right, so let's do a roll call vote on school district warrant article number 4. Again, a yes vote means that you're voting for the budget committee to endorse or to recommend warrant article number 4. A no vote would be that you're voting for the budget committee to not recommend warrant article number 4. Roger?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Mike Kennison?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Mike LeBranch?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The budget committee votes 11-0 to recommend school warrant article number 4. We'll close the hearing on that warrant. And we will open the public hearing on school warrant article number 5. And let me read that. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the repair and maintenance of school facilities expendable trust fund previously established to support the elementary school playground renovation project. This sum to come from the June 30th, 2021 fund balance available for transfer on July 1st, 2021. Parenthetically, no amount to be raised from taxation. Parenthetically, majority vote required. The school board recommends this appropriation 5-0. So again, Susan or Jana, if you'd like to offer any introductory comments on this before we open for public comment.
Happy to. So this warrant article relates to a project that was brought forward initially by the PTA at the elementary school. So playground renovations were not a building committee project, the bigger expansion and renovation project. And yet there is a need to do a lot of work on the existing playground at the elementary school. So just in terms of context, the playground is about 16 years old, and we only have one structure that is ADA accessible. We've had to remove some parts of the largest structure as they were a safety concern, and we were unable to find parts to replace them. And then at least one of the play school structures is in need of replacement altogether. In addition, we would like to resurface and line the basketball court, which is right next to it. It's kind of all in the same area. And would like to move the preschool playground back to the corner area under a new layout for the entire space. There's a desire to want to add trees or some other means of providing some shade in that area and some additional benches, and then more equipment that is ADA accessible and appropriate for lower elementary school kids. When the building project was, and the expansion occurred on that campus, my understanding from Principal Pine is that there used to be an outdoor classroom, and the outdoor classroom was lost in the project, and this would account for having an outdoor classroom space in that area as well. So the PTA, because it wasn't part of that, started doing some fundraising, and they've raised about $40,000 through that and had many other fundraising activities set up, including, I'm going to call them the Harlem Globetrotters, because, and that'll tell you, you know, what age bracket I'm in. I don't think they're called the Harlem Globetrotters anymore, but whatever the travel team that comes around and locally to raise funds was supposed to be here, and we had one heck of a team was going to go up against them. But anyways, it got canceled along with other events that they were going to hold to raise money. They asked us last year if we would move forward a warrant article that should there be a fund balance at the end of this last year, that we would set aside up to $50,000 to kind of start to match what they had raised so that we could get the playground in place as soon as possible. And so we added $50,000 at the end of last year, and we would support an article again this year. Again, so they've raised 40. We've put in 50 into that capital project fund for renovations. The total estimated cost of the playground area with the outdoor classroom is about $202,000. Greg Marles estimated that for us before he left. And the hope was that there'd be enough money raised through fundraising and any resources available at the end of the year that we could set aside to do this in 2023. So it's not something that would take place at the end of this year. Not likely that we could necessarily use it because of COVID, but by 2023, we should be in good shape. So we'd like to, again, support this project. It is part of our CIP. It's been part of our CIP projects for the last 2 years. So that's what this warrant article is in support of.
Thank you. This is essentially the same funding mechanism as the previous warrant article, just one notch lower down the waterfall. So, Jana, I don't know if there's any other details financially that you'd like to add.
No, this is identical to the article that was put forward last year on last year's warrant. Same purpose, same wording virtually.
All right, thank you. It's 7:38 p.m. and I'd like to open the hearing to public comment on school district warrant article number 5. I see Ms. Benson is once again stepping up to the virtual microphone.
Hi, everyone. It's hard to believe that I had a kid who was playing in that playground when it was new 16 years ago, and now he's off in college. But now I have a little one who's in kindergarten who will definitely benefit. So from a new playground in 2023 or even 2024, if that takes that long. So not just for my children alone that span a lot of time, but for everyone's kids, we know that equipment is built, it gets old after time. I mean, it's just a continual thing that we have to keep thinking forward about. And just because it was good enough for our kids when they were young doesn't mean it's still okay for the kids in the future. So I really support this warrant article, and I thank you for creating this fund balance for it.
Any other public comment? Going once, going twice. We will close public comment on school district warrant article number 5 at 7:39 p.m. I would ask for a motion from a member of the committee on school district warrant article number 5.
I make a motion that we accept school committee school article number 5.
Thank
I'll-
you,
I'll
Joe.
second that.
Thank you, Zach. Any committee members have comments or questions about school district warrant article number 5? Mike LaBranch.
Yes, just a couple of questions. Today I requested a list of the trust funds, and there's 6 of them, but I don't see this specific trust fund listed. Is there a reason for that?
The money for that is in the school repair and maintenance trust fund. We didn't create a separate playground one. The purpose of that fund was adequate to use as a vehicle to house the money. So
That's the one with the 538,000, correct?
yes,
Okay, now as these are set up as trust funds, do they go through the trustees of the trust funds for expenditures, or is that a school board situation?
my understanding is when you set up a trust fund, you identify who the trustees are going to be. In this case, when the trust fund was set up, the school board for all of these was set up as the trustees. So the school board is the authority that would oversee and approve expenditures coming out of that fund.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask, I guess, just my own ignorance on this? Is there a difference between the agents to expend the trust funds and the trustees who oversee it, or is that just 2 different words for the same thing?
The trustees are the ones that invest the money and manage the accounts. The agents to expend are the ones who are able to put forward the paperwork and the request to withdraw, but don't have access to the accounts. So they are 2 distinct parties.
Okay,
It would be like if if I requested money from, you would have control of your own account, but you would send the check to me, that kind of thing. That's the relationship. We don't have ownership of those funds. They are held in trust.
okay, thank you. Jeff?
Just curious, the 40,000 that was raised by the PTA, is that in this fund or has that been held separately?
The PTA is holding those funds.
Thank you.
Other questions from the committee? Going once? Going twice? All right. We have a motion to approve school district warrant article number 5. We will do a roll call vote. Roger?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Mike Kennison?
Aye.
Mike LaBranch?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. We are unanimous. The New Market Budget Committee votes 11-0 to recommend school district warrant article number 5. And at that, we will close the public hearing on that warrant article.
Dan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilor Dumont would like to vote aye in support.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zach. I apologize. That I don't, and I was staring right at you at one point too, so I don't even have that excuse. No, my apologies. We are now
Okay.
11-0, unanimous in favor of that. All right. On that embarrassing note, other business. Does anybody have anything else they would like to raise this evening?
Can you just talk about how the 27th and the next 2 sessions are going to go?
That's a good question. At this point, I don't know if well, actually, let me pause. When you say the 27th, what specifically
the January 27th meeting, the town meeting.
Oh, the town meeting.
Are we involved in those, or how is this gonna work?
I wish I knew, and now I really wish I'd asked Steve about this before he dropped off the call, because it isn't actually clear to me. Ordinarily, if you've been on the committee in the past, or if you've been in the gymnasium during the deliberative session, we sit on one side of the moderator with either the school board or the town council on the other side, and are available essentially to respond to public comments or public questions that may be posed to us. I'm actually not sure how this new format works. I don't know, Zach or Mike or Jana or Susan for that matter, if you have any thoughts or information on this you'd be able to share.
Give me just a moment to take a look at the resolution we had passed the previous week.
But it's a very good question.
I'm by no means an expert or necessarily somebody who can answer all of your questions, but I can certainly share the way it's worded in our warrant article preamble. And it just simply states there that the school board at that first meeting on the 27th will review the warrant and explain the articles. After this, the public on the articles, and it gives a variety of different ways that the town can do that. Town or taxpayers would do that. I would assume, that all of us would be present for that, and then at the subsequent meeting on February the 2nd, we would read the comments, and then there would be a discussion. So I would absolutely think that the budget committee would be present for that.
Okay.
At the regular meeting, because if there's going to be any discussion and potential adjustments in one way or another, I mean, if memory serves me, last year, that was the purpose of having all of us in the room at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, that's one. And then the other purpose is, the other part of the deliberative session is voters are able to make motions from the floor, which are then somewhat chaotically endorsed or shouted down by our peers. That's the part, I guess, and the budget committee, we are absolutely inessential to that process, other than responding to questions that people might raise in connection with a motion. So that's the part, I guess, I'm less clear on how it's going to work. Jeff?
Dan?
Why don't we let Jeff jump in first, and then Zach, you can clarify for us.
I was just going to say, and maybe Zach has the answer. I have the email with the special announcement for the town part of this, came in email, and it says that there could be adjustments made in the second meeting by the council. If there are adjustments to articles, we would have to re-approve. So we should be present for the second meeting if that's actually going to occur. I don't know about the first one. It doesn't say that we're invited, but not everybody who got the email obviously is on a committee. So let's see if Zach has some more details.
I am going to recommend to Steve that you folks are invited because it makes sense. It's typically how we normally do it. My interpretation was that the public would be reading, listening to what the town council has to say, similar to how the school board is going to explain its warrant articles. And then over the course between that meeting ending and the second one coming, if there are motions and or other changes that were like to be brought forth, they're supposed to be submitted in writing. But Steve hasn't really explained how we approve those, vote against those, or actually enact those changes. But I can't see any reason why you wouldn't be there for the second half in case anything did change.
All right, thanks.
So the school is at 6 o'clock on the 27th, and the town's at 7, right?
That's what I recall from the email. Yes.
And is your expectation we're there for both of them?
Yes.
And the
Roger?
the same.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did somebody else have Susan, did you have other clarification?
I was just saying that the Zoom number is the same for both. So if you just sign on, you don't have to, you don't have to sign off of ours and sign on to theirs. Steve and I coordinated so that we'd have the same Zoom ID number. So
You
people,
mean we don't have to leave the gym and show our ID again after the first one?
imagine that.
Oh,
What was the date? of the-
however will we maintain order? Roger?
My reading of it says that the first one is a informational session, after which people can submit by email or other means, paper, questions. I'm assuming also amendments or suggested changes to items. And that then on the second meeting would be the deliberation by the town council or the school board, depending on the two, of those requested, first of all, answering the questions, and then secondly, any requested changes that they would deliberate and make a decision on it. At which point, as Jeff points out, if there was some adjustment, we would have to meet to ratify that.
Okay. So if that's the correct understanding, then the only thing that's different from a normal year is we wouldn't have the public voice vote on motions. Jeff?
And I wonder if we need to notice a meeting for ourselves after, or somehow as part of that or not.
Yeah,
Check on
that
that
was-
to make sure we don't miss out.
That was the thought I was having, because to the extent that any of the articles get amended in that session, we would need to revote. So let me sort of take that away. I mean, there is looking at the deadline for when all the warrants have to be finalized. That looks like, sorry, just flipping through the calendar. I know I put this in here somewhere. Or maybe I didn't put this in here somewhere.
Dan, could I make a
Yeah.
suggestion? I think that if you talk to Steve, it's probably unlikely there will be changes, but if there are, I don't know why we can't tag on to that same Zoom as at the end of that Zoom and deliberate on the changes.
Yeah, I'll verify that with Steve, but that it does make sense that would be the case. All right. Any other business anybody would like to bring up before we adjourn? Rob?
Two questions, one related to this. What was the date of the second meeting? Did you say February 2nd?
I believe that's correct.
February 2, yes. 6 o'clock for school and 7 o'clock for the town.
And then we also had our regularly scheduled meeting in January. I like you guys, but do we need to see each other that many more times this month? Yeah, personally. As intended.
Given that we will all be meeting on February the 2nd, in past years, we have not done a regular budget committee meeting at the end of January because we always have the deliberative session coming up immediately afterwards. And then the same thing at the end of March, we'll obviously have, or end of February, we'll have voting day coming up right at the beginning of March. So unless we have some particular reason we need to meet, I'm not planning on scheduling that. John looked like he was crossing himself. He's so happy.
So are you going to follow up on the 27th? If that's, I mean, obviously, it's our best interest to be on there if we can, but if that's required or not. And then
I'll shoot an email to Steve as soon as we wrap up. Roger?
With regards to the the future meetings. We're now operating under the basis that we continue after the election, I believe, for 30 days. And then the new people who are elected come on board. We probably need to have a meeting that coordinates that so that the old people are still there and the designate elects should be at that meeting also, and they could kind of understand how we work.
Yeah, I mean, we could make that the meeting at the end of March, because as I understand it, the newly elected officials are going to be sworn in April the 6th is the date that sticks in my mind. It's in that first week of April.
We could do the teaching, training, and pass on institutional knowledge.
Right. All right. Any other business? And I'll send an email to Steve as soon as this is over. Zach?
I did want to point out that if you're looking to serve on a board, body, commission, trust, anything like that, I believe the filing period is going to be January 20th through the 28th. So just keep that in mind if you're up or you're looking to do something new for the coming year.
Absolutely. We'll have, we have a number of folks serving 1-year terms on this committee because they stepped up, to take those spots, as well as myself, Jeff, and Rob are all up at the end of this term. So we will be looking for quite a few candidates. Thank you, Zach. Any other business? All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
moved.
Roger, and second from Zach, I believe. We'd need to do a roll call vote. So Roger?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Mike Kennison?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Mike LeBranch?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We are unanimous and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.